December. We're closing in on Christmas. We're closing in on a new year, and we are closing in on the start of the 119th Congress. One of the people that will be there is the senator from Mississippi, Cindy Hyde-Smith, who is kind enough to join us and spend some time with us this morning. Good morning, Senator Hyde-Smith. How are you?
Good morning, Richard. We are great. It is cold in D.C., but I understand it's cold there, too.
It absolutely is. We probably have a little better chance to warm up here than in D.C., but that's okay. It's the time of year. Certainly appreciate some of your time this morning. There's so much going on as we move toward January 20th, toward the inauguration and the beginning of a new session. And the thing I think that is at the top of the mind and the top of the list are cabinet confirmations, the nominees of President-elect Trump. Some of these are deemed to be controversial nominees. As you look at this process, how difficult is it going to be to get to the finish line on some of the nominees that have got more questions?
Well, we're so ready to get this done. We are very focused on getting through this process, and everybody takes it very serious that, it's our responsibility to weigh the merits of each nominee. And there are going to be some because, these background checks are pretty thorough, and they come up with so many issues that people are going to have questions about. But I think there's an excellent lineup on most cases that, we're looking at of people that are so qualified, people that we know can get the job done. And you're always going to have those that, may have something in their past that somebody may want to make a big deal out of it. Sometimes it is a big deal. Sometimes it's not. So, we just got to wade through the vetting process and get to the other side. But I think it's going to be smoother than most people are really anticipating. We were in a meeting yesterday with the Republican members, and we're just ready to get it done. We want the folks in there that President Trump has chosen. And those that don't make it, they just don't make it. But you work with that also.
One of the conversations around Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense has been that he doesn't have experience running an organization as big as the Department of Defense. And I think maybe sometimes we forget just how big that is. So some of the other controversy set aside, right? I know that's all going to be hashed out and people are going to disagree about that. But when you look at his ability as a former member of the military in terms of running an organization like the Pentagon, do you have concern about that, or do you think that on that front, Pete Hegseth is somebody that can handle that job?
I do not know him. A lot of them I know. Some of them I know very well. But Pete is one of the ones that I don't personally know. But I know that, So for where he is right now, he has to have a lot of organizational skills. He has to be motivated. And, he has to be a pretty sharp guy to have the accolades he has behind him now. So no one's going to know really until they're in there. I've ran the Department of Agriculture before, and it's a tall drink of water. But it's just according to who you surround yourself with, and that's the Mississippi Department of Agriculture. Let's get that clear.
Ma'am.
But, it's just who you surround yourself with and how hard you work and your determination to accomplish the goals and objectives of that agency. So, I don't know if there's a magic number for years of experience or if there's a secret chemical that you need to possess to have all of those attributes that it requires. But that's one of the reasons we go through the vetting process. So I can find out more about him because he's one that I do not know.
Whether Kash Patel is ultimately confirmed as director of the FBI or not, when you look at that organization and the way it has been run under Director Wray now and previously Director Comey, do you believe that some of the ideas, at least that have been floated by Kash Patel about really revamping the way the FBI works are needed?
The 4 years that Donald Trump was persecuted, I don't see how any human being held up under that. I definitely think we need a large microscope, magnifying glass to look at that, because, we have evidence of things that happen. And to be quite honest with you, Kash Patel is the one that discovered most of that. Now, Kash is one that I do know. Mm-hmm. And I think that, we want somebody reasonable. We want somebody to go in that, yes, if there's things that need to be done, straightening out, that, cleared up, if you need to go in with a knife and do some carving, you've got to have the person that can do it. Because so many years Washington was just ran on autopilot, and the cabinet appointments were, so many times like what we would consider the obvious choice. And now that President Trump has come in, and he's so much more experienced than he was on the first go-round, that, he is putting the people in place that can do the hard jobs, that are proven that they can do hard jobs. Because obviously most of Americans thought before the election that we were on the wrong track. There's something wrong there, and some of it is very glaring. It's not going to be easy to fix, but you better have somebody going in there that's got the backbone that can do it and that's not afraid to do the heavy lifting, to look up under the layers to see exactly what's going on, and then come up with a plan of, we're going to fix this, and the determination to get it done.
And based on the fact that you say you do know Kash Patel well, you think he's somebody that fits that bill?
Well, I know Kash. We had spent a lot of time together, but, we campaigned together. I've met so many of these people on the campaign trail because I worked very hard for President Trump, campaigning all over the country. And from the experience that I've had with him, I think he's up to the challenge.
Visiting with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, spending some time with us on the Gallo Radio Show this morning, and we certainly appreciate her time in what is a busy schedule. The word mandate has been thrown around a lot, and I don't know if it's been overused or not, but the simple fact is Republicans now have the White House and the House of Representatives and the Senate, and a win in the popular vote, which to me says, okay, the American people expect results. Senator Hyde-Smith, one of the things that we've talked about a lot is sometimes when Republicans have majorities and have an opportunity, they tend to fight among themselves. We tend to fight among themselves. And it's like, okay, well, this is my idea and this is my idea. And they don't necessarily get to the finish line on getting the president's agenda done or what they were elected to do done. How do you avoid that? Because I understand that there are differences of opinions and maybe different levels of conservatism within the Republican Party, but how do you get true, meaningful legislation passed and work done while you have this majority in potentially a tight timeline?
Well, I tell you, the American people have clearly given us a mandate of what they want. I mean, this election was just very bold in that. And, campaigning all over the country, you could hear their voices, their frustration about the border, the economy. And, when you would bring up things of boys going into girls' bathroom, I mean, they would just respond with, just unbelievable, total disgust. And I think that the members here have heard that they see that clearly. I mean, when you look at 1/3 of all government employees don't even come into the office at all right now. Yeah. And so many come in 2 days per week, and 6 hours is considered a full day on those 2 days. So I think that the members who will be doing the vetting process.
I'm not laughing at your answer. It's like you say that out loud and you can't help but laugh at okay, this is what work is now?
Yeah, exactly. And it's so ridiculous that I think we're going to be focused, to stay together, that, this was a huge wake-up call. The last 4 years, we saw things that were so unbelievable, things such as that you just couldn't even imagine transferring a male prisoner to a woman's prison because that's what he felt like that day. Mm-hmm. These are things that were so outrageous that we know that mandate tells us you better get this stuff in line. And to think that, what if we had lost that election? I think that, we know the doom that would have been. So we are very focused on getting it right, working together. We've got, about 2 years of one way in front of us that we feel is pretty secure out there. And we know we don't need to be dividing We don't need the division. We need to be focused on, okay, we're all getting on this train. We're going to go in the same direction, and we've got to accomplish these goals to reach this end date because it was so outrageous in the previous administration. We're very conscious of that, Richard. We are very conscious that, this nonsense has to come to a halt. There's a day of reckoning, and that day is going to arrive on January the 20th.
Yeah.
So I think the first bill that you're going to see come out of the Senate is going to be a border bill. And, the Trump team, the ones that we're looking at, I met with some yesterday, Lee Zeldin.
Forgive me for interrupting you, Senator Hyde-Smith. We got a quick break. We're up against a break. We'll come back. We'll pick this up in just a moment. This is the Gallo Radio Show on SuperTalk Mississippi. More with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith after the break. Back with you on the Gallo Radio Show on SuperTalk Mississippi. Continuing our conversation with Cindy Hyde-Smith, Senator for the state of Mississippi, representing us in Washington, D.C. I apologize for interrupting you. Those commercials don't stop, though, when even when we want them to. Sometime you were talking about what you think the very first issue that the Senate will face, the first bill that you will deal with after the inauguration being a border bill, and I think you were mentioning Lee Zeldin, who's going to run EPA, or at least that's what we think is going to happen with Lee Zeldin going forward.
Yes, I met with him yesterday. Elise Stefanik yesterday. I had dinner with Pam Bondi, who is the nominee for Attorney General, Brooke Rollins, who's the nominee for the Secretary of Agriculture. We've had a lot of interaction, but get down to business and we get that behind us, which I really think is going to go smoother than most people think, because we know we've got a job to do. And everybody came back so elated that we had won the election and realizing, it's a tall drink of water to get this country going back in the right direction. But on our side of the aisle, we see hope. We see a great lineup of cabinet members. The campaign was tough, and we got through it, and now we see opportunity. We see opportunity to get so many things done and to right so many wrongs that we see, and some of them are easy. I mean, it's just obvious that you go in. We want to restore the tax cut. We want to get the economy back on track. There's a lot of work to be done, and that's not lost on the members of the U.S. Senate. I can assure you, we had a very good meeting yesterday. I'm so excited about the Department of Government Efficiency, what we're referring to as DOGE. I assure you that Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are quite capable of rocking that world.
Yeah.
That we have seen so many things that are misspent, misused, misguided. And we've got a lineup to come in to take care of business. And I think the American people are going to be very pleased, because President Trump is so much wiser than he was in 2016 when he came in pretty naive to politics. That's not the case now. And he's prepared to roll. He has spent literally the last 3.5 years getting ready for a second presidency on what has to be done, and to bring in some starters, not the ones on the bench, but the ones that have already been doing it, to that process. I assure you, he's coming in with eyes wide open this go round. And I can't say enough about Susie Wiles, who he's chosen to be his chief of staff.
Really
I've known
impressive.
Susie for several years, many years now, and she will keep this train on the track. And you step in front of this train at your own peril.
That's a great quote. Visiting with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, I want to ask you about this before we run out of time. The Farm Bill matters so much to so many Mississippians. You know how important that is as a former Commissioner of Agriculture and Commerce here in the state of Mississippi. Farming has always been a difficult job, Senator, but the challenges that farmers in Mississippi and all over the country are dealing with now maybe as big as they have ever been. Is the Farm Bill going to get done? Where does that stand?
Well, when we came back after Thanksgiving, we were handed the farm bill that we had no input on whatsoever. The chairman just said, this is the farm bill, and, we had our folks, and we were combing through it so quickly that, no, it's not going to get passed by the end of the year. And that's sad. But we've been working on an emergency disaster supplement for farmers. This is a serious issue, and I'm really glad that you brought it up. Many producers all over Mississippi they're in dire straits because of the inflation, the sky-high input cost, the depressed prices that threaten their ability to just secure financing.
Yeah.
When I met with bankers, farm lending creditors in October, they looked at me and they said, Cindy, we're not going to be able to finance so many of these farmers. You're looking at losing 20% of your good producers. That got my attention.
Right.
And we really got busy on a disaster relief for them because that's been my world for so long. I say that's the fabric of my makeup right there. My heart is agriculture. And I know that they can't survive in so many circumstances. And so in the absence of a farm bill, we don't have these programs. And we got to step up and provide for that. So we will get a farm bill, but I think it's going to be a very good farm bill eventually. But right now we've got to have some relief
emergency
on a
programs
disaster
in place.
relief.
Yeah. We unfortunately are out of time, Senator. I thank you so much for your time. It's great catching up. Wish you and your family a happy holiday season and look forward to talking to you in the new year.
Thank you so very much. God shed his grace on this country. It's our turn to give the dignity of one nation under God.
Amen to that. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith joining us on the Gallo Radio Show. Thanks so much for your time. We'll take a quick time out. The news is next, then the 8 o'clock hour with you.